Hey everyone, Ben here. In today's episode, we dive into KEDEHub, a powerful tool that provides insights into the efficiency and collaboration of development teams. We'll uncover how KEDEHub combines software development with behavioral analytics to optimize team processes and enhance teamwork. We'll explore its unique features and discuss how it helps developers and leaders make data-driven decisions to take their teams to the next level. But enough of the intro. Let's unpack this one.
Yeah. Welcome to the light. We talking about the knowledge that arise. Dimitar Benjamin, riding high. Stellar Word Podcast. We touch the sky.
Hey Dimitar, welcome to the show.
Hello, and Benjamin. Thank you for hosting me. Yes, thank you very much
You're
for the
welcome.
opportunity. Yeah.
We've been planning this for a while now and pushing it back till the end of the year. It's now fall when we're recording. It's the 10th September. It's at least fall in Germany. It's getting pretty cold. But let's jump into it. For everybody who does not know who you are and what you're doing, can we start with you giving us a brief intro on yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a software developer primarily for more than 25 years now. And in the meantime, I started several software development companies for developing software for clients. Also, I am a member of the global Kanban community. They even nominated me for their Brickle Key Award back in 2015. And also I had some publishing business. I published some management books translated from English into Bulgarian language, books by W. Edwards Deming, Goldratt, The Theory of Constraints fame, In Thinking, the Kanban book, the Bull book. And right now I am very much engaged into my startup called KEDEHub, and recently I was awarded for the United States patent for the technology behind KEDEHub. So I'm an inventor.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But what is KEDEHub?
So it's pronounced KEDEHub, right? Because we found out that Americans, and America is our primary market, they cannot say KED, so they can say KEDEHub, right? So KEDEHub is a tool that implements the knowledge-centric perspective on software development. And it is kind of a new thing, and we are just a tool implementing it. And there is, for this perspective, there is a open source manifesto. It's called Manifesto for Knowledge-Centric Software Development. And KEDEHub, it's actually the main idea is that knowledge is the fuel that drives software development engine. So that's like in one line. And KEDEHub is just a tool that implements this. Like, for instance, it allows teams to actually to quantify the knowledge they spend while doing their job. That's in short.
For me, as a non-programmer, can you put that into words that I understand as well?
Yeah, see, let's start with a definition of what knowledge work is. I will not be asking you because most probably you don't have one at heart, right? But the definition of knowledge work that we subscribe to is as follows. Knowledge work is the cognitive effort needed to bridge the gap between individual skills, knowledge, and experience, and what about some task, and what is the required level of knowledge needed to successfully complete the task. So by this definition, for a non-developer, and since you are in Germany and probably you have in your life the experience of assembling IKEA furniture. Have you? Yeah. It's
a couple of times, yeah.
Effortful, right? And very kind of tireful work, right? So assuming like for a non-developer, if we have a piece of IKEA furniture to assemble, and it looks really easy from a manual labor point of view, because you have several kind of pieces and you have to stick them together with probably like some joints or screws, like 10 or 20, nothing, right? And it usually it takes me at least hour and a half, maybe 2 hours and a half. And where the time goes, it goes into finding out, first of all, what to do and then how to do it. And because I'm not a professional assembler, furniture assembler, it requires a lot of knowledge work for me in order to put together a very simple piece of furniture, right? Let's say Billy. So from this perspective, knowledge work is not only for software developers or for, let's say, marketing people or product people. More or less everybody does it, but to a different extent. For instance, if we take an assembly line as a counter example, on an assembly line, most of the knowledge is there. It is built into the tools, into the line itself, and there are routines, and people are trained on these routines. But so most of it, like it looks like they just have to do some manual labor, okay? But we know from Lean that like the whole Kaizen idea to gradually and continuously acquire the new knowledge in order to make the work faster, which means to reduce the amount of knowledge work needed. So that's the idea of an assembly line. From like in a software development or new product development in general, the idea is the exact opposite. We want to actually find knowledge which no one has, right? Let's say a new car or a new rocket or a new application, right? So most valuable knowledge is the knowledge that no one has, and we try new product development to find some knowledge, right, which no one has. But importantly, not all knowledge that no one has actually has value, right? So we have to find out which of the unknowns actually are valuable for our specific context, right? So is this like clear enough?
Yeah, yeah, I think yes. And I wonder if you do you differentiate between knowledge and experience? For example, if you have like a sales meeting with a customer, right?
Huh?
Knowledge would be like a sales process, right? A sales pitch, like something prepared, something that you know, like product knowledge or application knowledge that you as a salesperson has. And experience would be to get the right gut feeling to see whether how you approach that customer. That is not something that you could write down in a process because it's very contextual.
So
Do
let
you
me,
differentiate
yeah,
on that?
yeah. But because I'm not like, I prefer development related examples.
Hmm.
So a knowledge, piece of knowledge is, let's say, a binary search algorithm, right? It's a very kind of common, people learn it in computer science classes like the first thing. So that's knowledge. It is just like sterile. It's not readily applicable. And then developer might have skills in order to apply this particular algorithm into, let's say, a relational database. Okay. So these are skills. You have to know what a database is and how to, yes. And then experience is what you actually know, but from your experience. They call it, I believe, tacit knowledge, which means that knowledge that it's in your head, but you cannot take it out unless there is a kind of an occasion for it, right? So you know that you know it when there is an occasion. So this is a kind of a difference for me. And for a salesperson, it will be, the knowledge should be like, as you said, like the product, anything about the client, and the skills should be the sales skills, like how to approach it, like do some product discovery initially, and where to talk and when to listen. And experience, again, based on your experience, you will react in situations which are kind of like ad hoc, right? So that's your experience. Yeah.
How would you describe the approach when you go to a client with your invention? Like how do you improve or impact the business results?
You
How can
see,
I?
yeah. See this thing like this, the gap
Hmm.
between what we know and what we need to know in order to successfully do a job. So this gap, first of all, it costs money, right? So the narrower the gap, the less time actually it needs for us to spend time in order to finish job. Let's say, getting back to IKEA assembly, like if we know how to assemble things, it will take us less time, right? So this is the gap. So from this perspective, efficiency in knowledge work, and especially in software development related, like new product development, the more efficient you are if you know more. If you know everything, you will be extremely efficient, right? So you know everything, you just go to a job and then you finish it, right? And if you are not knowledgeable and you don't have knowledge, skills, and experience, it will take you like years, right? So that's actually affects company profitability, revenue and profitability, because time is money. So less time, less money. And these days it's very common people to ask for do more with less, right? But less, if we look from a manual labor perspective, would mean, let's say, writing down more software, just like typing faster or whatever it is, right? But from a knowledge-centric perspective, do more with less means train your people better, allow them to have access to knowledge resources, like, for instance, a senior teammate, a product owner, direct connection with the business customer, videos, books, and also these days, generative AI. So if you have a tool, let's say like ChatGPT or one of the many Copilot type of tools, it will help you, right? So this is from a business perspective, but then there is this personal perspective, and from a positive psychology, there is this concept of the state of flow, and I'm sure you have heard about it, right? So flow means if you are in the state of flow, a person is the most productive, they don't feel tired, and they want to do more of the same work. Not more of the same. If they are not in the state of flow, they will be bored, which means like it's not interesting. And then if they might be anxious, which means they are very anxious, into anxiety. So this gap, the knowledge gap between what we need to know and what we do know about successfully finishing a job, is very much related with the state of flow. So if this gap is too narrow, which means the person will be more efficient from a time-wise perspective, right? But if it's too narrow, it means that the job is not challenging enough, and the people usually get bored. That's how they call it in psychology, right? On the other hand, if the gap is too wide, which means that you don't really know what to do and how to do it, okay? Then you will be less efficient, but at the same time, you will be anxious because you are not able to do your job, right? So the state of flow is the border state between boredom and anxiety, and it is a very tiny, from, let's say, mathematical perspective, very tiny kind of area where if you are in this state, you are the most efficient, at the same time you feel good, right? Which means that, like, if an organization is very efficient, it might be the case that people there might be bored and they might want to leave for whatever. On the other hand, so being efficient is good, but it should be you should be efficient enough, right? Not 100% efficient. Okay, it should be.
So basically, what you're saying is that the principles of flow on a personal level are the same principles that work on an organizational level.
But
or not organizational level. Let's just say like on a value stream or a solution or whatever you call it.
So see, so value stream, I'll leave it for now, right? Because it's a concept that many people actually kind of hide behind, right? So any job, any organization consists of individuals, right? So if we look at individual level, then we can actually say who is happy or in the state of flow, they enjoy their work, and who is bored and maybe who is anxious, right? And then from the knowledge-centric perspective, let's say you have a team developing new software product, right? And let's say the team has only one software developer. It's a corner, like extreme case, right? But the team is not of one person. So they have one developer, they have one QA, they have a product owner, they have a subject matter expert, they have direct connection to the business. Also, they have some books, and also they have ChatGPT and some GenAI tool that actually would help developers. So from a knowledge-centric perspective, even though the developer is the one who does manual labor of typing the source code, eventually somebody has to do this, right? But the knowledge is a system property, which means that the knowledge needed to produce a line of code or a piece of source code, it comes from the whole team, okay? So if we look at the software developer alone, the way to make software developer happy means to provide them with a system where the gap between what they know, the system knows, and what is needed to know to effectively do a job should be proper in length, okay? Which means that you have to have a lot of people around the software developer. So knowledge as such is a system property, okay? It belongs to the whole system.
And that what you just mentioned, that is what.
So KEDEHub is like so you see, so you have, let's say you have this concept and you have taken this concept at heart, right? So you have a software development function, organization, and you develop software, and you want to actually to manage this gap, right? Because you subscribe to the idea that this knowledge gap is actually crucial for the profitability of the organization and for the happiness of the people inside, right? And in theory, it's like the theory then, but the first thing that you have to do is actually to find way to measure this knowledge gap, right? So this is like to apply it in practice. And one way to measure, and they did it several years ago in China, a research team. So they put like special apparatus on the heads of developers, and they try to see the brain activity, and from that actually to approximate how much actually new information they needed in order to do their jobs. And it was good for research, but not for practical matters. And what KEDEHub is doing, our patented technology, we have a technology based on peer-reviewed math, based on the source code to approximate how wide the knowledge gap was through time. Which means that if you take KEDEHub, you can see historically, like if your product is like has long history, you can see what was before, you can set the past as a benchmark, and then applying the knowledge-centric perspective, you start to helping the team more faster closing the knowledge gaps, right? And which means that you do some management interventions, let's say Agile, Scrum, Kanban, whatever you do, right? Design thinking, whatever. You buy GPT, you buy a lot of AI, you buy stuff. And then in order to validate what actually was the result, because remember, knowledge is invisible, right? You can use KEDEHub again to measure again and then compare with the benchmark and see actually what actually happened. So that's the idea behind the tool.
So it only provides information.
Yes, I compare
only
it.
In air quotes.
No.
People
So we
just
measure.
listening, I said only in air quotes.
No. So we measure this gap in bits of information, and bits of information, the same bits that actually run the computer we are recording this on. So we can say that on average the knowledge gap was let's say 5 bits of information, right, or 10 or 20 or 1 or whatever it is, right? So we measure in bits of information. And then what we actually compare our tool to a thermometer, okay? So a thermometer is just one of the tools that a doctor, a physician would use in order to make a patient better, okay? So there are plenty of other tools, okay? It's a thermometer is one tool. And the thermometer can tell if the patient has a fever or not or whatever it is. But the thermometer will not tell you what was the reason for the fever. For that, the physician might need to use the other tools or maybe get inside somehow into the human body and make a hypothesis and then intervene by medicine or whatever it is and then use the tool again. Okay, so we look at software development organization as a black box. So we can tell what was the level of knowledge gap, how wide was the knowledge gap in terms of bits of information on average for a month, for a week, or for, let's say, a year, for a different teams or projects or even people. But we need a physician to get actually the root cause and then make a change. And in our business, physician would be a manager, an agile coach, a scrum master, or you name it. Okay, so we are just offering a tool. Of course, around the tool, we have, let's say, 150,000 words of advice, how to actually to make the gap kind of affordable and challenging enough, but not boring. Yeah, so it's but most of the advice is based on management practice or everyday practice, Scrum practices, Kanban, and everything else. So we are offering the thermometer, and we let physicians actually do their work, which means that we don't propose a method or a framework or whatever it is.
Got it. Have you, like, applying this to organizations, have you seen a correlation between a very narrow gap and very good business results? So can you say that if you have a very narrow knowledge gap, you get quite good business results?
Yeah, so see, narrow gap means you are bored, right? On an individual level, you are bored, right? So it's a bit counterintuitive, right? If the gap is narrow, which means the job is not challenging enough, so people get bored. If the gap is too wide, they get anxious, right? So, but if the gap is narrow, they are very efficient, unhappy, but efficient, right? So if I rephrase your question, I can give you an example with a quite famous crypto company called Solana, if you are in crypto. So their source code is open source, and we analyze it in order to actually to develop while we are developing the technology. And we analyzed 4.5 years of Solana software development from the white paper. And on average, the knowledge gap they needed to bridge was very wide. I mean, we measure efficiency in the range between 0 and 100, and 0 means you knew nothing, right, about the job, and 100 means you were perfectly efficient, you knew everything. So they score between 1 and 3 out of 100, okay? Which means that people there were probably constantly under stress, and they added people, so we can see how they added people, and the new people were less and less efficient because they had to learn a lot in order to start developing, all the stuff. But which means that from efficiency standpoint and from personal happiness standpoint, it was a disaster. But from a business standpoint, it was a huge success. So last time I checked, it was like 4 billion market caps, and it, of course, it fluctuates, right? But it's a very successful enterprise with, let's say, 40 on average active contributors, like developers, having a market cap of billions of dollars. So it's a very efficient from a business perspective and very stressful from a human perspective.
But isn't that a characteristic for an organization that operates on such a edge of technology?
Yes.
Because they're very much leaning forward into a space where nobody has been before.
Yes,
right? So
exactly.
I would assume people are under stress if they enter new territory. I would rather be surprised if they are bored using new technology and exploring new markets and new technology.
Yes, exactly. But if you take, let's say, a bank as a counterexample, a bank is it's not like kind of very profitable business, right, in general. And if you have development teams inside a bank and they are not efficient from a knowledge-centric perspective, which means they more or less don't know what to do, even though running a bank is and writing software for a bank, which I've done, it's not rocket science, okay? You just have to learn it, what to do and how to do it. So if they are not efficient, which means that the knowledge gap they need to bridge on a daily basis is too wide. So first of all, they're under stress, and it is actually Why? They should know what to do and how to do it, right? And in this case, it means that maybe there's some management kind of dysfunction inside, right? Because maybe they hired the wrong people. Maybe they, even though it's probably known what a bank running software should be look like, they didn't provide them with the proper training, like initial onboarding or whatever it is, right? Which means that that's organization, we may say, well, it needs some kind of, well, looking into, yeah. So yes, so it very much depends on the kind of the business you're in. Yes.
During your research, were you able to identify characteristics that could describe a target range for certain industries, businesses, or models? So if you, let's say, use KEDEHub as a bank, you would aim for a certain score, while you were a cryptocurrency platform, you maybe want to aim for a different score.
See, because we are offering a tool, and it's just one point of view on a business, okay? And there are many other points of view and perspectives, let's say business perspective, customer-wide perspective. So the business might be really successful, and then you might need probably to do some kind of trade-offs. Maybe you, as Solana, you don't want to be efficient because there is no way to be efficient, right? But from a positive psychology perspective, this is the concept of flow mathematically, and we have this actually quantified mathematically. The best size of a knowledge gap is 1 bit of information, which means that at any point in time while you're doing your work, you have to make a binary choice between, let's say, option A and option B. For any decision that you have to make, there's only 2 alternatives. At any given time, there's only 2 alternatives. Then you will be very close or in the state of flow on a regular basis, okay? And from this perspective, the best score, and remember, we measure knowledge discovery efficiency in the range between 0 and 100, the best score is 50. Because if you are more than 50, you will be more efficient, but you become bored, right? If you are at 100, you are bored, definitely. So which means like you are out. So 50 is the best, right? Like the borderline. But from the data we have seen, a good, properly run organization where people actually report they feel good and they enjoy their work, it's around 20 something, right? On average, right? Because we cannot remember we're using source code as an input to our technology, right? So we don't have like on a seconds basis some kind of machinery on people's heads. So we say on average, let's say on a weekly basis, like on average, it's a good approximation, yes. So around, so the best place to be is like say 50 out of 100. And the usual expected, like on average, should be around 20. Yeah. And importantly here, so let's say you have a junior developer and you have a senior developer, right? So juniors, they don't have a lot of knowledge, they don't have a lot of skills, they have no experience, okay? And the senior is the exact opposite, right? You may have both at the same knowledge discovery efficiency. How? By aligning their abilities with the challenges in front of them, which means management action, okay? So some people refer to this as like matchmaking, kind of negative connotation, but that's very important. And I have had, like in my own experience as an engineering manager, a newbie, a junior software developer feeling great, being very productive, having efficiency around 20, doing work that actually we trained them specifically for this work. So out of this specific domain, they are juniors, but in this specific domains, they were very knowledgeable after we trained them, okay? So this is again some intervention that managers do anyway. So any manager, an engineering manager, they want to actually to find this balance, right? So to make, first of all, people enjoy their work, and then be as much efficient as possible, which means that as cheap as possible for the business. So and these are, you have to make trade-offs. Yeah.
I was just wondering if you could aim for certain scores in certain businesses. You just mentioned Solana before.
Yeah.
And I was wondering that if Solana would score 50, my assumption now, listening to you and trying to understand, is that aiming at like scoring 50 would be too high up the scale. So they would work too efficient. They would feel too comfortable for a company working on that technology and operating in that high fluctuation market they're working in, right?
Exactly. Yeah. See, Solana has and it's a very good case in point, right? Because they did some they widened their knowledge gap too much intentionally. As an example, the founder, Anatoly Yakovlenko. So when he started, so he wrote the white paper, and he did some prototypes in C++, right? And then he decided to switch to Rust. There is this programming language these days. So he had no idea what Rust is, right? So he intentionally widened the knowledge gap about how to implement whatever they wanted in the white paper intentionally. So while developing the product, he learned a new technology from scratch. Okay. But obviously, as you said, that was kind of mandatory for such a startup, right? So they made this decision. They widened their gap, right? But see, many people think that like these are kind of heroes, or software development is only for heroes, and I don't subscribe to this. Let's say Solana, okay? So let's say they invent a lot of stuff, and they did invent a lot of stuff. But in a software product, not everything is innovation. Most of it is just routine stuff. Let's say how to deploy software. Let's say what database to use. A lot of stuff can be classified as routine, and for some people would be boring. Let's say for the Solana founder, it will be a boring work. So and I'm speaking right now from a engineering manager perspective, I would kind of try to classify the work into buckets, okay? Routine work and very challenging work. And for the routine work, I would find people that actually can do it, and for them it will be challenging enough. Remember my example with the junior developer? So I can hire juniors to do specific routine tasks for my very innovative product, okay? And then I focus on the innovation part. And of course, maybe we have some more people, senior people, knowledgeable people, and they can focus on this part, right? So in this regard, the what's the name? The stars in the team will not be bored, and the juniors in the team will also feel challenged enough, okay? And this is management, right? So this is not like, so what I'm trying to convey here is our listeners not to think that software development is only about stars. No, there is a place for everyone. There is a place for everyone. There is a place for junior developers. There is a place for star developers in the same organization. And in this way, you can have everyone enjoying their work at the same time, most efficient from a business perspective. Okay, makes sense?
Yeah, makes totally sense. And for me, coming from a hardware perspective, this is very much the product development life cycle that you're just describing. So you have like innovative tech or innovative markets that you're working on, which is quite exciting. It's challenging. And then at a certain point, you want to make it efficient. You want to run it efficient because you're a company. You want to make profits. You don't want to operate always fully stressed out, because that is very expensive. You're killing your margins, right? So at a certain point, you want to take that knowledge that you gained and you want to transform it into processes and routine work to run an efficient company, but also at the same time, keep feeding that cycle back so you work on the next innovative thing. right? So you're constantly stressing part of the organization and you're constantly de-stressing parts of the organization in order to keep that cycle going.
Exactly, Benjamin. And the good thing about this knowledge-centric perspective is that actually people do it anyway today. In their practice, as you described, people do it. What we have done is just to put a label on top of it, make it a bit more structured, right? So define what knowledge work is, knowledge discovery, efficiency, and stuff like that. But if you don't do it in your work on a daily basis, you will not be successful anyway. So don't consider that this is kind of innovation or anything like that. It's just, let's say, a synthesis, putting some structure, putting a proper name, and just like say, well, that's what we are doing. Let's actually just follow it. So it's not like the Agile Manifesto where at least they claim they invented stuff. No, it's just like a synthesis, okay? And if you go to or our readers go to knowledge-centric.org, so that's the manifesto, you will see that every sentence, there is a reference. So for every sentence, there is a source where somebody have already said it, right? Let's say somebody already said that software is just like materialized knowledge, okay? And there is a reference, the book, and they can actually go and read the whole thing, okay? So again, it's just a synthesis and it's nothing new. And I find that people actually struggle with this. And many people struggle with kind of admitting that actually that's what they do. And it is like psychology wise, because you see, if you're a star performer, you're like a magician, right? So it's like your status is based on this, okay? So you don't want somebody to actually to put and to explain what is going on. So heroes are very common in our industry, and we like heroes. We just want to have them put in the proper place where actually they can be heroes and not to be bored with routine stuff. Yeah.
But also once you take that magic that you described and you put it into repeatable knowledge, you put it into processes, you put it into documentation, maybe you give it to your more junior people because it's now part of your operations. You deconstruct the magic and you take the magic away, which is sometimes... So there are parts in my life where I am the magician that you just described. And for me, it always hurts. It really hurts when people deconstruct what I do and put it into words and put it into processes and document it, because then the magic is gone. It's nothing special anymore. Yes. And I have to find the next thing.
Yes. And you can probably have read the Phoenix Project, the book, and they have this example star, I forgot the name, who actually fixes all the issues, right? And nobody knows how, right? And one of the big challenges in front of the main protagonist was, what was the name of the manager? I forgot the name. Is actually to find out this person and kind of put him in a box so that they can do only the innovative part and everything else can be done by the team, right? So this is a challenge. Yeah. So this is a challenge. Yeah. From my experience, like promoting KEDEHub, promoting the knowledge-centric perspective, it's like what is the proper word? It's like demystifying. So there was a proper scientific word about culture. So you take out the mystery out of everyday life, and you just feel like, oh, I have no power anymore. I have no status anymore. No, you can actually increase your status if you engage only with jobs where the knowledge gap is wide, so nobody else can do it anyway. You just have to manage your time so that not spend with boring stuff and spend it with where the knowledge gap is wide, right? And where the knowledge gap is narrow, give it to somebody else.
Yeah. Coming back to KEDEHub, how many companies have tried this out yet?
So our business model, we sell through channel partners, right? Because we are a very small company, and especially our primary market is United States, because the patent is there, like a lot of stuff. And by like hiring enterprise sales is extremely, we cannot do it. So we sell through channel partners. So whatever they sell, it's up to them. And the thing is that and we're looking for more channel partners, right? Because they have to be on board and stuff like that. But we started recently, more or less, marketing it for almost a year now. And this is from a go-to-market standpoint, this is our constraint, finding more channel partners. But it's it will probably take time. And people don't want to, you see, and it's not embarrassing. If you have a thermometer and you take your temperature and you don't like it, and maybe you don't want to share with your boss because you want to go to work and you just hide it, right? And it's okay, right? Because in the meantime, you will work on it and you will increase it and stuff like that, but it will take time just to be widely accepted. Yeah, so that's our current state. But so we are welcoming, and so in regard trying it, so KEDEHub is free forever for small teams, less than 10, which means that they can go to our website. In 10 minutes, they can actually deploy KEDEHub on a laptop, and they just start using it with no fees, nothing, right? On top of it, part of the solution is open source. The stuff that actually analyzes the source code is open source. It's there. So if people want to try, they just go and just a couple actually of Docker containers, and they are on their way, and they can actually play with it and stuff like that. Yeah.
And where does the source code go? Do I need to be able to share my whole source code with you to use it?
No. So it works as follows. Let's say you want to test it for your small team on a laptop, right? So you download the application with the database and everything on your laptop, and you run it, and then you download a local clone of your Git repositories that you want to analyze on your laptop, and then you use these open source agents that will analyze on your laptop and send it to the database on your laptop, and it is on your laptop, everything, right? So we would never be able to touch it, or we don't know, and we don't want to, but that's how it works. And also we have it, of course, deployed on Amazon, but most of the people want to have it on-premise, for reasons.
Yeah, of course. So if people want to engage with your work, if people want to learn more about KEDEHub, where do they find you? Where do they find the project?
So first of all, they can find me on LinkedIn, right? And then if they want to see the documentation and download the application on their computers, they can go to KEDEHub.io, right? It's called KEDEHub.io. It's if you put KEDEHub on Google, it's only one thing.
Yeah, at this point, just open up the show notes and I will provide all the links below. If you send them to me, I will put them into the show notes.
Sure.
Can click on them
and regarding the manifesto for knowledge-centric software development, it is an open source text. They can go to knowledge-centric.org. The manifesto is there. It's open source, so they can go to GitHub and propose changes. And also we have a LinkedIn group, which I know you are part of. Thank you for that. And in the LinkedIn group, we actually discuss what to change and how to change it in order to improve the manifesto as such. So it's kind of a group effort. So I believe 300 people are members of this. And this is the way they can actually do it. And again, documentation-wise, on KEDEHub.com, we have more than 150,000 words of documentation, primarily around applying the knowledge-centric perspective in practice. Let's say if you have a Scrum team, how to do it. If you have a Kanban team, how to do it. If you just have any kind of project, what to do, and stuff like that. If you are a fan of theory of constraints, how to apply this from inside the theory of constraints team and stuff like that. A lot of stuff. Yeah. Cool.
Dimitar, thank you so much for coming on the show. I think this is really exciting. And I also already have a project in mind where I am thinking of using it there. But thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Benjamin, for having me. And I wish good luck to our listeners and to you specifically. And let's embrace the knowledge-centric perspective, because it provides a new lens on our everyday lives. Everything can be seen from a knowledge-centric point of view.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for making it to the end of today's episode. If you'd like to learn more about KEDEHub, make sure to check out the show notes below. And if you're looking for someone to guide you through, just drop Dimitar or me a message and we'll be happy to help you out. And if you liked today's episode, why not spread the message? Posts on LinkedIn or reviews on your favorite player are always welcome and really help this project grow. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, man. Welcome to the light. We talking about the knowledge that it rise. Dimitar Benjamin, riding high. Stellar Work Podcast, we touch the sky. Knowledge flows like a river deep and wide. From the code to the brain, let the rhythm guide. We're bridging the gap with each bit we grow. With this work, yeah, we reap what we sow. Dimitar step in with the tools he brings. Over 25 years like a king he sings. From software to knowledge, he's breaking it down. In the tech world, he's wearing the crown. KEDEHub, yeah, that's his creation. A tool for the mind, no hesitation. Knowledge-centric, the way we ride. In the gap we hustle, we find the pride. It's not about the magic, it's about the flow. The wider the gap, the more we grow. From the junior to the pro, it's all the same. In this knowledge game, we break the chain. Knowledge flows like a river deep and wide. From the code to the brain, let the rhythm guide. We're bridging the gap with each bit we grow. In this work, yeah, we reap what we sow. From IKEA builds to software dreams, every task ain't always what it seems. Knowledge we build, skill we hone, together we rise, we ain't alone. From routine jobs to pushing the edge, in the flow state, that's where we pledge. Dimitar says don't be afraid to fall. In the knowledge game, we stand tall. Whether you're bored or feeling the heat, find that balance, make your work complete. Flow with the rhythm, move with the beat. In the knowledge stream, there's no defeat. Knowledge flows like a river deep and wide. From the code to the brain, let the rhythm guide. We're bridging the gap with each bit we grow. In this work, yeah, we reap what we sow. Yeah, so keep on learning, keep the mind alive. Dimitar and Benjamin, we thrive. Knowledge is the power, let the work unfold. In the tech world, we shine like gold. So keep on learning, keep the mind alive. Dimitar and Benjamin, we thrive. Knowledge is the power, let the work unfold. In the tech world, we shine like gold. Funky, no burning, keep the mind alive. Dimitar and Benjamin, we thrive. Knowledge is the power, let the work unfold. In the tech world, we shine like gold.